Today we have 5 new English terms: digital divide, social inequality, cultural diversity, social mobility, and social justice. As you listen to the story, try to guess the meaning of each term, and then after the story, we'll dive deeper into them. Are you ready? Well then, let's jump right in. Our story for today is Bridging the Gap. Maya Johnson scrolled through her newsfeed on a sleek tablet, her eyes reflecting the blue light of the screen. From her downtown apartment in Chicago, with its floor-to-ceiling windows and minimalist furniture, the world seemed full of endless possibilities. Another scholarship program launched? She murmured to herself, making a mental note to share with her students tomorrow. As the founder of TechBridge, a nonprofit organization aimed at teaching coding skills to underprivileged communities, Maya was intimately familiar with the digital divide that separated those with access to technology from those without. Just 5 miles away in the South Side neighborhood where she grew up, her childhood friend Darnell Turner was helping his daughter with homework by the light of a single lamp. Their apartment building had reliable electricity, but they couldn't afford a computer. The local library had cut its hours due to budget constraints, making it nearly impossible for his daughter Zoe to complete assignments requiring online research. "Dad, how am I supposed to do this project without a computer?" Zoe asked, frustration evident in her voice. Darnell sighed, feeling the weight of social inequality pressing down on his shoulders. Despite working 2 jobs, he struggled to provide the tools his bright daughter needed to succeed academically. The next morning, Maya stood before a diverse group of students at the community center. The room buzzed with multiple languages: Spanish, Polish, Arabic, and Korean, a beautiful tapestry of cultural diversity that made Chicago unique. Her students ranged from 12 to 72 years old, all united by their desire to learn digital skills. "Today we're going to learn how to create a simple website," Maya announced, trying to ignore the empty seat in the back row where Zoe usually sat. After class, Maya's phone rang. It was Darnell. "Zoe couldn't make it today," he explained, his voice strained. "My car broke down and bus fare for both of us." He trailed off. "I understand," Maya replied, an idea forming in her mind. "Actually, I've been thinking about expanding our program. What if we created a laptop lending library and offered remote classes for those who can't always make it in person?" Over the next 6 months, Maya worked tirelessly, securing grants and corporate donations to build TechBridge's resources. The program expanded, offering not just coding classes, but also career counseling and job placement assistance. The initiative began to bridge the gap, creating pathways for social mobility that hadn't existed before. Zoe thrived with access to technology. By the end of the school year, she had created an app that connected food banks with people experiencing food insecurity in real time. Her project won the citywide science fair, earning her a college scholarship. At the award ceremony, Maya watched proudly as Zoe accepted her certificate. Next to her, Darnell wiped away tears. "Your program didn't just teach her coding," he whispered to Maya. "It taught her that she has the power to create change." The success of TechBridge attracted media attention, bringing to light the technological disparities affecting communities across the city. Local politicians began advocating for better internet infrastructure in undeserved neighborhoods. And several tech companies established internet or internship programs specifically for graduates of Maya's classes. A year later, Maya stood before a crowd at City Hall accepting an award for her contributions to social justice in Chicago. As she looked out at the audience filled with her students, corporate partners, and community members, she saw not just individual success stories, but the beginning of systemic change. Technology is not just a luxury, she said into the microphone. In today's world, it's a necessity for education, employment, and civic participation. Access to these tools shouldn't be determined by zip code or income bracket. When we bridge the digital divide, we open doors to opportunity for everyone. As the audience applauded, Maya caught Zoe's eye in the crowd. The young girl gave her a thumbs up, her face bright with possibility. In that moment, Maya knew that real change was possible. One connection, one skill, one opportunity at a time. Now, as you listen to the story, I'm sure you heard each of the terms I mentioned earlier. You heard digital divide, social inequality, cultural diversity, social mobility, and social justice. But I want us to dive deeper into the first term. Again, the first term being digital divide. I want us to see exactly what this term digital divide actually means. And we heard it at the beginning of our story, during the part when it said, as the founder of TechBridge, a nonprofit organization aimed at teaching coding skills to underprivileged communities, Maya was intimately familiar with the digital divide that separated those with access to technology from those without. So the question is, what does digital divide actually mean? So let's dive deeper into this term. Digital divide refers to the gap between those who have access to information and communication technologies and those who do not. Again, the gap between those who have it and those who do not. Remember, we're speaking about digital divide, the gap between those who have access and those who do not have access. Those who are from poorer communities, unfortunately, don't have access to digital products usually. But those from more affluent communities, from our last lesson, have more access. So let's check out some example sentences using this term. Here's the first sentence. The digital divide can exacerbate social inequalities. Next, governments are working to bridge the digital divide by providing affordable internet access. And finally, the digital divide can limit educational opportunities for disadvantaged groups. So once again, we understand this term, digital divide. Now let's read the portion of the story one more time where this term was used. Here we go. Another scholarship program launched, she murmured to herself, making a mental note to share it with her students tomorrow. As the founder of TechBridge, a nonprofit organization aimed at teaching coding skills to underprivileged communities, Maya was intimately familiar with the digital divide that separated those with access to technology from those without. So now we see how this term digital divide was used in our story. It's time for us to move to our second term. Our second term is social inequality. Again, social inequality. Now, when we were listening to the story, we also heard this term towards the beginning. Social inequality. It was used in the beginning when we were speaking about Darnell. Darnell sighed, feeling the weight of social inequality pressing down on his shoulders. So now the question is, what does social inequality actually mean? So social inequality refers to the unequal distribution of wealth, power, and opportunities within a society. Again, the unequal distribution. This group has a lot more money than this group. Unequal distribution. In English, we say social inequality. Now let's take a look at the example sentences using this term. Our first one. Social inequality can lead to social unrest and conflict. Number 2, governments are implementing policies to address social inequality. And finally, education can help reduce social inequality by providing opportunities for all. So now we understand this term, social inequality. Let's once again read the portion of the story where this term, social inequality, was used. Going back to our story, we have that section again where it says Darnell sighed. Here we go. Darnell sighed, feeling the weight of social inequality pressing down on his shoulders. Despite working 2 jobs, he struggled to provide the tools his bright daughter needed to succeed academically. So we see here the term social inequality being used. Now let's see the next term, our third term. We've had social inequality and we had digital divide. Now let's check out cultural diversity. Cultural diversity. So in the story, cultural diversity came right after social inequality. Cultural diversity was used when Maya was describing the many different languages she heard. She said the room buzzed with multiple languages, Spanish, Polish, Arabic, and Korean, a beautiful tapestry of cultural diversity that made Chicago unique. So let's find out exactly what cultural diversity actually means. Cultural diversity refers to the existence of a variety of cultures within a society. The existence of multiple, various cultures in a society. I live in America and I actually live in Maryland, and we have many different cultures together. Again, cultural diversity. So let's check out some example sentences. Here's the first example sentence. Cultural diversity enriches our world. Next, it's important to respect and appreciate cultural diversity. And finally, cultural diversity can lead to misunderstandings if not handled carefully. So we understand now this term, cultural diversity. So let's read the full section of our story that included this term. Here we go. The next morning, Maya stood before a diverse group of students at the community center. The room buzzed with multiple languages, Spanish, Polish, Arabic, and Korean. A beautiful tapestry of cultural diversity that made Chicago unique. Her students ranged from 12 to 72 years old, all united by their desire to learn digital skills. Now we see how this term cultural diversity was used in the story, and you understand the meaning. Let's move now to our fourth term. Our fourth term was social mobility. Social mobility. So in the story, towards the middle of the story, the term social mobility was used. In the section when we heard Maya trying to figure out how to get donations. The sentence that used this term was, the initiative began to bridge the gap, creating pathways for social mobility that hadn't existed before. This is the section where the term was used. Again, social mobility. The question now is, what does this term actually mean? So, social mobility just refers to the ability of individuals to move between different social classes. The ability of an individual to move between different social classes. Maybe a person was born into a poor or lower income family, but after studying hard and working hard, they were able to move up and earn a lot of money and bring their family members with them. Again, social mobility. Here are some example sentences. The first one, education is a key factor in social mobility. Next, economic opportunities can promote social mobility. And finally, social mobility can reduce social inequality. So now we understand social mobility. Let's check out that passage again from the story, using the term social mobility. Here we go. Over the next 6 months, Maya worked tirelessly, securing grants and corporate donations to build TechBridge's resources. The program expanded, offering not just coding classes, but also career counseling and job placement assistance. The initiative began to bridge the gap, creating pathways for social mobility that hadn't existed before. So now we see how this term social mobility was used in the story. And that brings us to our fifth term. The term is social justice. Social justice. And this term was used towards the end of our story. Social justice. And the sentence that we found this term in was, a year later, Maya stood before a crowd at City Hall accepting an award for her contributions to social justice in Chicago. Now we need to figure out, what does this term actually mean? So let's dive deeper into the term social justice. So social justice just refers to the principle of fairness and equality in the distribution of resources, opportunities, and privileges within a society. Again, the principle of fairness and equality, not based on your color, your race. Everyone gets the same. Everyone is treated fairly. Again, social justice. Here are some example sentences. Social justice advocates for a more equitable society. Next, social justice movements aim to address systemic inequalities. And finally, social justice issues include poverty, discrimination, and environmental injustice. So now we have a clear understanding of this term, social justice. So let's go back to the part of the story where we saw this being used and where we heard it. And let's read that portion one more time. A year later, Maya stood before a crowd at City Hall accepting an award for her contributions to social justice in Chicago. As she looked out at the audience, filled with her students, corporate partners, and community members, she saw not just individual success stories, but the beginning of systemic change. You caught it, right? So now we understand these 5 terms. The terms are digital divide, social inequality, cultural diversity, social mobility, and social justice. I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I hope you continue studying each and every day. I'll talk to you in the next lesson.